Welcome, generals. I thought I make a little tutorial for the developers, mod creators, or the users who want to modify the Control Bar Pro, either to adapt it to a mod or to just make some customizations for the textures, for the colors, whatever. So hopefully I can present something presentable, so that you learn and will be more comfortable in going into the modding. Okay, so this is a Control Bar Pro. In case you don't know, the control bar here at the bottom, and all the source files are available, so you can download and you can edit it, and we will look at just that. Okay, let's close the game here because we want to start from scratch. So we will close this down. Yes. And I hope audio is okay, but looks good. Looks good. Okay, so where do we get started? We go on github.com in your browser. You type that in. That's here the address at the top. And in GitHub, you should be able to search for the super hackers. The super hackers. And there, let's see, users. Yeah, here, the super hackers. There you click, and then you are on github.com/the super hackers. And the super hackers, they just have a bunch of repositories here. And here at the very top, you already see the general's control bar repository. That's where you want to go. And here you will find different folders for Control Bar HD 0 hour, Control Bar Ops 0 hour, and Control Bar Pro 0 hour. That's a place that you will be interested in. All the files are here. You could browse here in the browser, but of course we want to download all the stuff, and for that you go here on the code and then download.zip, download zip. That will download all the files that are in this repository inside this zip archive. I already did that, so I don't need to download it again. And that I put here, the zip file. Let's open it. There it is. So we can just extract it here somewhere on your drive. And once you have it, then you will have access to all the files to build your own control bar. It's taking a little bit of time. It's quite large. It's 460 megabytes right now, so sorry about that. Maybe it should have been split across different repositories, but now it's all in one, but who cares? You probably have some bandwidth, right? Okay, so Control Bar Pro, that's a folder. And here you will have different folders for different purposes. Let's go into game files edited first. Game files edited, that pretty much contains all the edited files that you are interested in. So for example, here in game files edited art textures, you will find all the source textures in the PSD format, which you can open with Adobe Photoshop. And there are some legacy files which you don't care. They were the old ones. These are the new ones. And what else do we have here? Data.ini, very classic. Some ini file modifications. Ini files are files that script files that are read by the game, which contain, in this case, some texture coordinates. And here's some control bar definitions. Oh, actually, that's not true. Yeah, actually, this control bar scheme. Yeah. Some control bar definitions. We can have a look at this later. The Gentool full viewport.dat is required because this add-on requires Gentool 8.5 or above, and Gentool will read this file, and if it's part of add-on, then Gentool will enable the full viewport mode so that the bottom black bar is hidden in the game. And window contains a bunch of window file edits. Window files are all the UI placements, like in the lobby, for example, and like the position for the money, for example. Yeah, this is all here in the window. Okay, so we got that. Then there are some extra folders for some extra shenanigans, but we don't need to take a look at this right now. Apart from edited language, which we can go into more detail later, which basically is specific ini file modifications for all the game languages, all the native languages. So you won't find Russian here or Arabic because these are not native to the 0-hour release, but all these 9 languages. And they all have edits along with it, which cater to different resolutions. Because unfortunately, the game by default is not able to scale text properly into different resolutions. So for example, the 4K resolution will have very small fonts across the board. So it's very hard to read text. So that's why these ini file edits here are necessary to bring up the scale of the text in different resolutions. So we can have a closer look later. Yeah. And game files original is just original files, just for reference. Game files tests, just I think there's one file for some tests. Yeah, rank ini. Yeah, we don't care. Okay, so yeah, this is what is in here. This is already some pre-generated releases. I don't know if this is really necessary to have it here on the repository, but that's how it is. Yeah, who cares? And then the unpack, there's like a README file in there, which you can edit, you can change it. The add-on is released under the MIT license, so you are allowed to change it any way you want. But I would be very happy if you would keep the original the original link to the code and assets. I think that would be nice, so that if someone else wants to look for the source material, that he can find it here, and maybe also leave some original credits for the author. Yeah, and you can take over like stuff from here. It's very general purpose. Yeah. So like if you edit the add-on, then all these things likely still apply, right? So you can just add additional information here, right, if you want to. And yeah, so let's take a look at the design files first, maybe to get an overview of what is important for the design, which you should take close attention to, pay close attention to. Colors. If you change the colors, well, before we go ahead here, maybe first look into game files edited and open a texture just so we see what a texture looks like. Yeah, this one, America control bar. There it is. Okay, so this is the control bar, which you see from the game, which is just, you know, the main window. It doesn't contain all the buttons and the logos and the XP bar in here. These are in some other files. But yeah, this is a main texture. And there is some legend for the colors here. And it's very important that you keep track of your colors. So if you want to change the look of the control bar, it makes sense if you want to do it properly. Well, you can do it hastily and just, you know, put like in the filter here hue saturation, for example, and you just change the hue. You could do that. It's not very professional. It may not give you the results that you want, but it's a start, right? So you have a little pink here, if you like that. But that's probably not the proper way to do this. So let's delete this again. So the way we designed the colors was by taking, that's the wrong folder, by taking the colors from the original control bar. So it is somewhat, it preserves the original color scheme, original color palette from the original control bar, just to preserve the style in this regard. You can do this by taking any image and then you generate a color palette from that. There are Photoshop tutorials how to do that. You just type it in YouTube and search for it, generating color palette. And yeah, you can do this with Photoshop, for example. There are probably also ways to do it in other softwares. Yeah, basically it generates a color palette, and then you can also add some more variations for base colors. Like in this case, it generates a few more here. So with this, you can create your color palette, and if you're happy with your color palette, you can then also generate swatches, which I won't go into detail how to do this. You can find tutorials how to do it. These are like ACT files or ACO files. You find tutorials how to do this, and then you can load these swatches in Photoshop here. Here's a swatch. How do we load this? It's probably here. Yeah, here load swatches, and then you can load it. Yeah. Okay, so that's about colors. That's about colors. So I would say be considerate about your colors when you design them, and when you have your colors, you can load them here as swatches. Maybe we just do that for completion's sake. Load swatches. Sorry, I'm a bit unorganized. What's the folder? This one here. Put it in here. And it's swatches. Let's go with a baseline. ACT. Yeah. So it's SA command bar. That's a USA command bar. That's a legacy name. The new one has a different name, America command bar or something. SA, and there. Oh, I think that now merged it with some other. We need to clean this first. Reset swatches. You see, I'm noob. Replace. Let's try replace. There we go. Okay, so these are now the just the swatches for the SA command bar. And as you can see, there are already some of these in here in the legends. So yeah, we use these to base it off. And yeah, you can also then change the legend, of course. So if you have like dark metal and you want to change it, then you can go ahead. I think it's a good idea to keep track of your colors so that you don't run into any issues, and you can always find them. Makes it easy, I think. And then once you have your colors in your legend, then you can go into the specific item. So for example, here we are now here on the radar. That's the yellow guys here. And let's go on border inner. That is the border here. I think if we control click here, it will select it so you can see what it is. Or you just drag it. Let's see. Yeah, there. You see, just drag it. Control Z to revert. And then you can go here. I think it's, yeah, the rectangle here at the bottom, and then the fill. And then with the fill, let's say we change it to green. Right, then it has like this green tint. And then there are also some effects to it. So I think the inner glow, the inner glow also has a color. So you probably would also want to adjust the inner glow to, let's go with some green. It looks stupid, you see. Yeah, not a good effort, but that's the essence. And this way you can change all the textures, right? Just make sure to be consistent then with your choosings. But yeah, all the elements are here. So like, what is this? Body glow. That's a little glow. It's probably hard to see now in the video. Body stripes in here. The body, that's probably the background. Maybe we remove it from the top. Yeah, that's body inner, body glow, body stripes, body, and the outer. Yeah, there's an alarm here, the ribbons, and then the outer, and then pretty much everything is gone. So yeah, you can pretty much change all the items. You can add new things if you want to. It's really up to you what you want to do. You can also change sizes of elements, but if you change sizes, then you also need to edit. Then you also need to edit the ini files and W and D files. So yeah, there's a work overhead if you want to change layout. If you just want to change the look of the textures without repositioning anything, meaning like you don't reposition these rectangles here, for example, or the power bar or the money field, then you can just change the texture. But as soon as you make this bigger, for example, which let's for illustration purposes, let's do that. We go to the production. That's a production window here in the middle. And the upgrades window is this here on the side, the one here at the bottom, the upgrades, the red one. The production has the inner and the outer. Inner is this, outer is the gray one here. And yeah, we would have to increase the outer border. So we go here. It's all vector graphics, so it's all non-destructive. So we're gonna go here and make it larger. That's a very unprofessional drag here because I don't have any reference size. We'll get to that later. But yeah, as you can see now it's bigger, and now I could also, of course, adjust the inner, which is probably power body. Oh no, power body not. Where is it? Border inner. Ah yeah, border inner. So I would drag this, and then also the ribbons, of course, which are down here. Let's go here. Yeah, they have multiple ones. So there are 3 ribbons. Yeah, the smaller ones and the bigger ones. We select these 3, and then we can move these over. See, like this. Very unprofessional. And you see, it's a little bit of work because there are many different elements, but you can reposition all these in a non-destructive way. That's a good thing, right? So you don't need to draw anything. You just move things around. So, and the next is, actually it's quite a bit of work here because it's quite a lot of elements. What is this one? It's border inner, right? Yeah. Let's drag this as well. No, let's leave this again. Control T, and yeah, there we go. Then we resize it. As you can see, it automatically generates this metal texture with it, which now looks a bit stupid because it's a huge area, but you get the gist, right? So we move it here, and it looks totally stupid. But yeah, that's how you reposition the items, and of course you drag also the next items, the next items. But yeah, this is how you can reposition the texture. But then of course, now this would be for a mod, for example, that now uses more icons, right? So you could then add more icons, but that would, as I said, then also translate into modifying ini files. So this is for the more advanced purposes. Okay, so that was pretty much the basics now of just editing the texture here, but very important, you need a reference. And the reference is here in the mockup. It's called Control Bar Mockup 2160. The name 2160 is because all the textures are in 4K, which is 3860 by 2160. And that's this texture as well. So the reference size for this texture is 4K as well. And that is the same size used here in the design file, which I highly encourage anyone who makes really big edits on the design to keep consistent, because it will help you in organizing A, all your windows, and B, then later transfer your edits into the ini files and the W and D files, right? So if your design here is consistent with the textures, with the ini files, then it's easier to redesign all the things. So as of right now, all the designs here are consistent with all the control bar edits, yeah, which is just illustrated here with rectangular boxes and colors. So the blue one here in the middle is a chat box. We can try to find it here. Here, in-game chat, that's the one. So if we toggle this, as you can see, it will hide it. And yeah, the same way, the same principle applies here. These are all vector graphics, so you can edit these the way you want. So you can go here, Control T, make it larger for whatever reason. Okay. Yeah, now your chat box looks like this, right? And yeah, same for any other menu. So all the menus are here. We can take a look at some of these. Oh, that's a little bit large. So for example, here we have the disconnect menu. We have the quit menu, quit no save. There are two different quit menus, quit message box, a message box. There are two message boxes, of course, why not? The badge, and yeah, everything is here. Let's hide the chat, because obviously the control bar are the most important things, which is here in the control bar folder. There are also some reference images here to compare against original, which I found useful when designing it. Like here, a view on like just a random scene to have a little bit of a better impression of what it looks on the actual game. Here also with a gentle graphics, just for reference. But yeah, the control bar graphics are in here also the same way. You can toggle things here. So on the control bar, on the production bar here in the middle, there are also different overlays. So this one is for the timer overlay. That's when you have a drop zone, for example. You select the drop zone and there's this timer. Here is what is in here? Some icon, and here's a text, and here's the timing bar. Yeah. And yeah, so basically you create a mock-up like this with just boxes, and you put the things where you want them, like here the buttons, and here the production buttons, right? The power bar, the money. So you get like a general idea of what your control bar looks like in a really abstract way. Well, the radar, very, very simple, easy to work with. And this is important because then you can take your mockup and copy it over to your real texture. So in this case, this is now the real texture where we changed the border here to green for whatever reason, for no reason. And then you can place a mockup into the real texture. So for example, you see it here. There's a mockup, and yeah, then you can design your texture over it. So here in this case, you see, oh, that's a little bit large. You see here the upgrades window fits over it because it has just been designed to fit the mockup. And the good thing is then, as I mentioned, you will use a mockup later to edit the ini and the WND files, which of course is important. And I can show you how to do that. So the game files edited folder, which contains your files, the edited game files. And we open, oh, I need to remember, what file was it? Was it control bar, WND? I can't remember. Let me see. No, actually, I think it was ini files. Data ini. No, actually, it was WND files for the most part. Yeah. Control bar. Let's open it. Edit with Notepad. You can edit it with any editor. Here, I just use Notepad++. ++ is always good, as you know. And what do? We open Photoshop, and let's open the upgrades window here at the bottom. Yeah, and there is Upgrade buttons. Oh, that's not, wait, just buttons? Where are the upgrades? Ah, here, control bar base. I don't know why this is separate, but who cares? Okay, there we go. So this is the full upgrade thingy. Yeah, there we go. And there you find also some information about the name. The name of the layer gives you a hint of what it is called in the WND file. So here, control bar.wnd, right HUD. So if we double click this and copy the name, and we search for it here in the control bar.wnd file, then we find this here, control bar.wnd, there it is, right HUD. And here are the coordinates. It has been created for the 4K resolution, as you can see here. And these are the coordinates. And now if we look here into our design file, let's first check what it looks like. It looks like this. So this is the right HUD. And so this is the top left position, and this is the bottom right position. And what we can do now is we can go here, and if we hover it with let's say the color picker here at the very corner, then, and we go here to the info tab, and you hover here, then you will see the coordinates. So in this case, X is, it's probably a little bit small in the video because it renders quite small here. And the application, it's 3284, and Y is 1774. XY coordinates. And now if we go to our, the file here, then we can see nothing. Let's go back here. If I tap out, it should still show us. Oh yeah, it does now. Okay, now you see the coordinates there, and the coordinates correspond to this upper left. There you see 3284 1774. So basically it's a lot of monkey work to do this manually, because right now there is no WND editor, no any editor to do this automatically. Obviously that would be the best, but right now there's no such tool. Maybe in the future we can develop such a thing, but right now it's just copy it over like this, just sample the coordinates, copy it over, which is a reasonable thing to do. It's not the end of the world. Just takes a little bit of time, and as long as you don't make thousands of edits, it should be accomplishable in a reasonable amount of time. So yeah, the upper left is here, and the bottom right is here. You need to sample not on the last pixel, but here next to it, like here, which would be in this case, yeah, the 3742 2142. Let's double check if this is correct. Yeah, there it is. 3742 2142. Yeah, so this is how you transfer the coordinates, and then in game it will be on this position, the same way you have designed it here in your mockup file. Yeah. Okay, so this is how you edit, and then of course, yeah, you edit your mockup, and then you transfer all your changes to the WND file. Some of the elements are placed in an ini file. Let's take a look at that. It's probably here data. Control by scheme, I think. Control by scheme. So for example, yeah, very specific items like buttons, for example, they are positioned in this file. Sorry. So for example, the power bar, as you can see here, XY, upper left, lower right. So you copy the coordinates from the power bar of the mockup, which is the green one, the green thing here, into here. And I think there are multiple instances, so you can Control C and Control Shift F, and then this, and then find all in current document. And there you can see there are multiple of these, which all should have the same, apart from the observer bar, I think. Let's see. So the observer 8x6 has a different position, but that is also reflected in the design somewhere. Let's take a look if we can find it. Control bar base. Here. Observer. Let's zoom out. So this is control bar match. Yeah. And this is control bar observer. Yeah. Which looks a little bit funky here. Yeah, so the power bar has a different position, and then accordingly you transfer this here in the ini file. Maybe we make the text a little bit larger so it's easier to read for you in the video. Like this. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, like this looks good. Maybe. Okay. So yeah, this texture is a little bit special. The pink one here, which is yeah, one texture dedicated just to this overlay here, which is spawned in the observer control bar, which refers to, let's take a look. Game files edited, art textures. It should be here, ops player window pro, I think. Yeah, there you go. So this is, it also has the mockup here at the bottom. There it is, the mockup, neutral texture, and yeah, then the texture is drawn over it. You can also modify this. Yeah, you can modify anything, obviously. Yeah. Okay, so I hope you get a little bit of an understanding of how to make really sophisticated edits regarding the design. If you just want to make color changes and texture changes without changing the sizes, then as I said, you don't need to bother with editing ini and WND files, which I think is the most preferable approach. But yeah, maybe your mod requires extra buttons. Then of course you need to edit the design and then adjust the coordinates here and there. But overall, the design has been made very mindful. It's not just random placements of things. Everything has been designed in a way that it kind of makes sense. So the radar is rectangular, for example, so that wide maps and yeah, that any map has like equal room of showing up here. All the position of windows are also mindfully placed. So for example, let's I'm looking for something here. Yeah, here. So the placement of the general promotions, they have the right relation to the buttons. Also the heights of certain menus. Where's the I'm looking for the promotions window, the powers, the general powers. Where is it? Maybe in here. Promotion. Oh yeah, there it is. The promotion. Yeah, very very important. And yeah, that has a correct height in relation to the general XP powers, which is not really visible here. But trust me, in game it is, because this also has a border of the same size as this, and it all properly aligns here. It's all properly centered, so don't need to worry about that. This all fits in here without going out of screen, and it has a maximum amount of icons that the game supports, which I think is 11. Correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, all the icon sizes have the proper dimensions, which I think is 5 by 4. The textures are 5 by 4 of all the icons, and these rectangles here do respect the sizing. And also all the text fields are large enough to fit the text of all languages. So the control bar has been tested in all the languages. I think Polish has the longest text of them all, which go quite far, because I don't know, for some reason Polish language has quite long text. And yeah, but all the texts in the control bar and all the windows, they fit properly, so you don't need to worry about any tight spaces. And yeah, it all fits properly, so you don't need to worry about any quirks. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I hope you got a little understanding of this. Now, what else can we look into? Yeah, there is then obviously the case where you need to, if you make changes to a texture. So for example, let's say you add new buttons, or the button, let's open the button texture so you can take a look at it, which is the Powers Pro. So here's the China Powers Pro. It contains the China specific Gen Powers window, but also all the buttons here at the bottom, and also here the logo. So you can, for example, change this logo here, which should fit in to this black box. I hope you can see it. You can remove the neutral texture here. There you see the black box. So yeah, you can put in your own logos here, but you need to be mindful about the transparency. So in this case, there is a alpha, just it's hidden, the alpha folder here, which is just for reference, because the alpha you actually need to always copy here into the alpha channel, which is a little bit cumbersome. So you have this alpha channel here, which is important. Without the alpha channel, everything would look pretty bad. So if you add your own logo here, make sure you to also adjust the alpha channel accordingly. If you have some experience with Photoshop or any other, you will know how to do this. I won't go into detail. But yeah, you can also then put intermediate alpha textures in here, so it's easier to just copy it over. That's what this hidden folder is here for. I think in a bunch of files there is this alpha thingy here. It's just for convenience, right? So the faction logo is here at the bottom, I think. Yeah, there it is. China. Yeah. So you can edit this, and then obviously the buttons. And now let's say you edited the button texture, then you need to adjust that also in ini files, which I can show you here. Ini mapped images, there it is, hand created. So every texture has a corresponding ini file. So in this case, China Powers Pro, there it is, China Powers Pro.ini. We open this in Notepad++, and there you will find all the texture mappings. And yeah, unfortunately, the texture mappings also need to have coordinates here. So the same principle applies. You need to copy over the left top and the right bottom texture coordinates of your respective element. So for example, let's go here, China Pro Worker. Yeah, Pro Worker, of course. Worker is very professional. So Worker is this one here, the construction icon. So I think this one refers to this. Let's go into all buttons. Is that the correct one? All shapes. Probably. Yeah. So you can go here from the mockup to take the coordinates. We just hit the real button texture. And where's this coming from? From mockup. Yeah, from mockup. Makes sense. So the mockup always shows you like where things should be placed, and then you place a texture over it. So yeah, you just use a mockup to transfer the coordinates. Same principle. You go here in the corner and in the other corner, and then you copy over the coordinates here into these fields. Yeah. Texture width should already be all correct, so you probably don't need to adjust that. The texture size is also written in the texture file itself. In this case, it's 2048 by 2048, which is reflected here. But yeah, it's a little bit of monkey work once again. But again, if you just change the look of your texture, then you don't need to bother about copying over the textures, the coordinates. Okay, but yeah, all the different elements, they are all here, so you can change it at will, however you want. All the hard work is pretty much done. Yeah. Okay, so now we got this. I think hopefully you have a good understanding of how to edit things. Of course, there will be some small things that you likely need to discover yourself. Some things may be a little bit hidden, like, you know, some coordinates are in the WND file, some others are in the INI file, so that's a little bit confusing. So for some elements you need to check. But it's typically things that have different positions in different control bars. They are in the control bar INI file. Maybe that makes sense. Yeah. So buttons that have different positions depending on the control bar, they are in the INI file, and everything else that is static and always the same in all the control bars, that is in the WND files, because there can't be any different versions of WND. There's only ever one. Yeah. Okay, so now let's say we made some edits, which we did. We changed the we ruined this texture pretty much, right? So the texture looks bad now, so let's save it. I think that's a very good idea. And let's close these other textures. We don't want to change it. Let's close this. And now, of course, we want to build and test our changes. For that, there is already all the build scripts included in the Control Bar Pro and also in the other Control Bar add-ons. So the Control Bar HD, same principle here, and the Control Bar Ops, also the same setup. And all the setup is here in these JSON files. And the JSON files will help you to make the build setup. So we can open this here in Notepad. So the mod bundle packs, that defines now let's go to items first. That's probably better. Yeah, your bundle items, which mostly refer to the big files that you want to generate for the Control Bar Pro. There's already a setup, of course, so you don't start from scratch. And for this add-on, as you might be aware, there are different resolution setups. So there's a Control Bar Pro for the 1280 by 720, which is here, the 720. And then there's another for the 1600 by 900 and the 1920 by 1080 and the 2560 by 1440. And of course here the highest resolution, the 3840 times 2160. That's a 4K resolution. And all these have their own big files. They are all generated for you, so you don't need to generate or put these together by hand, but it's all generated for you with these setups here, which will execute different build steps to build all the stuff. So there are ini files being generated, there are WD files generated for you, and then the big files, and then also the zip files to package the whole thing up. We will have a look at this in more detail. Basically, these definitions allow you to define these packages, these bundles they are called. So this is for Control Bar Pro Data 1080. It's a big file, big true, and it contains in the game files edited all the ini files in this folder, all the mapped images hand created ini files from this folder, all these window files, and all these window menu files. Yeah, these will be then be put into this Control Bar Pro Data big file, and there's also a pre-built script run that's very specific to the Control Bar Pro, which is modify positions, because positions are being modified for different resolutions, namely the 4K and the full HD. So that because we will have a look at this. The scripts will generate two different texture sizes. There's one. Yeah, let's run this first, so we can inspect the files. Okay, so we looked at design, we looked at this. Okay, now so let's look at scripts. Of course we want to test our changes. So what I like to do, I don't know what I just did there. I closed something. God damn it! Let's open it again. There we go. Yeah, you see I'm a little bit unorganized here. Very amateur. Okay, what I like to do is open the command prompt, run this as administrator, the command prompt. Then you go here to the scripts folder. You copy this folder, cd/d, and then right click to paste. And then you go to this folder. I need to sip of the water here. Already have a dry mouth. That's not good. And here you have different script files that help you build the whole thing. So for now, let's just execute the build release.bat. So, come on. There we go. So, it looks like I need to type it. Build release. I just tap, that will press tab button to toggle the files in there. So let's go with build release, and that will now first download the tool to build with, which is called General's Mod Builder. And now it will read the configuration files. Now it will run the ini file generation and the W&D file generation. Now it will generate the DDS textures from the Photoshop textures from the source images. So you also don't need to generate the game texture files by hand. So you can just edit the texture in Photoshop, save the Photoshop file, and then run the build script, and then it will build the game files for you. So it will take a little bit of time for the first run because it needs to build everything. Now it builds big files, and now it builds zip files where all the release final files are being put into, and now it's done. Okay, now let's take a look at what it did. So it now created this build folder here at the top, which contains all the intermediate files that were generated, which big bundle items. Yeah, these are the big files that were now generated for your control bar, which there's a test file. Oh yeah, well, that's probably not part of the release, but it's here, it's probably correct. Okay, so all these files are here. As you can see, they have different sizes. So the Control Bar Pro Addon, for example, for the 1080 is smaller than the 2160. That's for the higher resolution, for the 4K resolution. It's a little bit larger. Inside here are now the textures, the DDS textures. As you can see, it looks all proper, as we would expect. Yeah, and yeah, the same here for the other one. It's all here. And yeah, then there are also some other files here. This is for the languages and for some menus. Yeah, we can talk about this in more detail later. But yeah, all your big files are here. Modified files are here. I'll talk about this soon. Raw bundle items, these are all the raw files that were collected before the big files were built. So you can just see that if everything was correct here. Should be all in the correct folders. And then the raw bundle packs, what is in here? Ah yeah, the raw bundle packs is everything that belongs to one release bundle. So for example, in this case, this is a raw bundle for the 720 preset. All these files cater to this resolution preset. And yeah, in this case, for this add-on, we have 5 different presets for 5 16:9 text resolutions. And so the user can then, depending on his preferred resolution, then pick the one that he wants. So for example, he has this full HD resolution, 1080p, then he just picks all these files and the add-on will be optimized for this specific resolution. This is obviously very specific to this add-on, but I just explain it to you so that you have an easier time to distribute your own control bar with the same principle, right? So you can now go here to the release folder, and here you have all the release files generated for you. So you just need to release now these 5 files, and then your users can pick the one that they want, right? So now, as you can see, the files are in here. Same here, right? So yeah, you don't need to, the setup is already there, so you don't need to pick files and put it together on your own. It's already all working. Okay, now to understand better why there are these different packs, that's unfortunate. Obviously, the best would be you just make one pack for all, but it's not as easy. But the first thing is texture size. For 4K resolution, you need a bigger texture, and that's why it will generate the big texture for the 4K and the 2.5K resolutions. If we go here to raw bundle items, art textures, yeah, here. So if we look at this, yeah, this is now the big texture, the 4K resolution, but the texture for the 1080 should be just half the size, because we really only need half the size, right? So if we look at this, as you can see, it's smaller, and that's good, because now the user with a smaller resolution does not need to render, does not need to download and render such a high resolution, because it also takes system resources, right? Which there are probably plenty, because the game is old and the new graphic cards are much better than what the game actually needs. But still, it's always good to be mindful about texture sizes and performance. So obviously it's good to keep everything small and tiny, because there will be some users who do have weaker systems, right? Not everyone has a powerhouse of a PC. Some users are just still living in the Stone Age, right? Okay, so yeah, the 1080 textures are smaller, but the good thing is it's all automatic. All the textures are generated from the bigger textures to the smaller textures. It's very convenient, but you need to take very special attention when you make edits to the textures, to the size of the textures, that they natively support a 2 times downscale. It's maybe not very straightforward to comprehend, but let me illustrate you here in the in this texture, which we messed up. There is a testing folder here, and if we enable this, it shows a bunch of buttons here, which we don't really care about, but it also shows you this pixel grid now. See that? These little tiny pixels. These are added here just for reference. These are 2 by 2 pixels. So these are not 1 by 1 pixels, 2 by 2 pixels. And the idea here is that all UI elements need to never cross a 2 by 2 pixel. So all the big lines for UI elements, if they don't cross the 2 by 2 pixel, then you're good. Then the perfect downscale from 4K to full HD is always possible, and it will always look sharp and crispy and good and tasty, right? So as you can see here, all these pixels are respected here, right? Let me illustrate it to you. This is the texture. This is the pixels. You can also check it on the mockup. You don't need to look it up on the real texture. Where's the mockup? There's the mockup. Yeah. So on the mockup, you can already check if your mockup is all good. You can also go to the mockup file. It also has the same here, the testing. So you can check it on the mockup on the get-go, which is the first line of defense. You should always do this. Check that everything is proper on the mockup. As you can see here, all the 2 pixel sizes are respected. It never crosses them. Now let's take a look at our new edit that we did, our lousy edit, which was here on the production. Yeah. Here it looks fine, but here, as you can see, we screwed up. Yeah. Here, as you can see, now it crosses the 2 by 2 pixel, and that's incorrect. That's not the way it should be. Okay. So if you make an edit here, let's go into the production. Let's go into the, what was it? Power body? No. Border inner. Yeah, there we go. Border inner. And then take this, Control T, and you want it to be positioned here. That's the correct position. This is also correct. This is correct. This is incorrect. This is correct. Incorrect. Make sense? I hope it does. So you can place it here. Press enter. Same here. Be like this. Looks stupid, but is correct. Because now what happens is, if this texture is properly aligned to the 2 by 2 pixel, it will always have the opportunity and the ability to downscale perfectly from 4K to full HD. Yeah. Okay. So that's the textures, but then there is also, that's wrong. Then there is also ini files. Yeah, modify font sizes. So as I mentioned in the beginning, not all the fonts display well on the high resolutions. Actually, none. None fonts display well on high resolution. So everything higher than full HD natively looks pretty bad. But here the Control Bar Pro already has scripts provided to automatically upscale the fonts for the higher resolutions. So then the higher resolutions will look better. Let's take a look here at the English language.ini. And for reference, we open the 1080, which is unedited. That's why you don't find it here. So let's go into the game files edited. Art, no, not art. Data ini. No, also not there. Actually. It's here. Game files edited languages. I see I'm confused about about this as well. So let's go with, what did I open here? Which language? English. So we open English. So this now is the original. Actually, I should have opened it different. That's okay. This one is okay. There are two. There's language.ini and there's header template. Both of them is very similar. So language.ini, as you can see here, it has the font name, and then it has here, this is a point size. So 10 pixels point size, and then whether or not it's bold. No means no bold, and yes means yes bold. And here, as you can see now, this is the upscaled one, this language.ini. Maybe we can do compare here. Compare, set as first to compare, and compare, set, compare. There we go. Yeah. So now you see the diff. Maybe we can make it larger. Yeah, make it a bit larger so you can see better. Yeah, have it like this. And now, as you can see here, the fonts are upscaled. So here, this upscales from 12 to 23, from 10 to 19. So it's a 90% upscale. Yeah, 1.9. Yeah, upscale for the 4K, and that allows the fonts to show better with better sizes in the high resolution preset. That's one of the reasons you want to give your user the opportunity to download the correct preset for his given resolution. So it's not just the texture size, but also the font size. Yeah. Okay. So I think that was hopefully somewhat understandable. You can also change the factor that the text is upscaled. If you go here to the modify font sizes, I think so. Modify font sizes. Yeah, that looks like it. And there should be somewhere. No, it's not here. It's in the. Sorry for my confusion. Let's maybe close this comparison here. Let's just close this. Yeah. If you go to bundle items, bundle items, there it is. There's a scale, the text scale. Modify font sizes, that's pre-built script. And there you specify, this is the name of the preset, which is here the 720. And the scale, actually I think this is then used as a folder name here. If you go to builds and modify font sizes, the 720, I think that is then used as this folder name. And the scale, that's the important one. So you can change it to 1, then it will be the same, or you can just remove this entire thing here. On pre-built, then will not use it. Same here for the 900, 0.9. For the 1080, it's 1, remains the same. And for the 1440, it's a little bit larger, 1.2. And here's a 1.9. Yeah. So yeah, this could be modified if you wanted to, but these were kind of okay. They look good. They look good. Let's say it like this. They don't work okay. They look good. There is one important thing to know if you want to merge Control Bar Pro with another mod or other add-on. That's a little limitation of the game, and that is, where is it? It's probably not here. It's probably no. No, it's not an original. Where is it? Oh yeah, it should be in header template. Yeah, let's look at the header template. Yeah, header template. Yeah, that's the right place. Okay, the same thing. There's the same principle here with point sizes. So in the header template, same as a language.ini, it will also scale these guys here. So in this case, it would scale to 38 for the 4K, right? And if we scroll down here, there are 4 new header templates added. So all these previous ones, they are all original ones, legacy, actively used header templates. Label regular, label small, load screen cameras, blah, blah, blah. They are all legacy, but here these are new. The Control Bar Pro scroll list box 0, 25, 50, and 75. They have different upscale modes. This is actually read here by the build scripts, and then it will upscale these by this factor. So this is basically what happens is it goes the mud bundle item, so 1.9 times 0.5, I think. Does that make sense? No, the mass is probably different. So it's 25%. It's 50% here of the extra 0.9. So it would scale. It would scale 1.45. Yeah, 1.45 for this header template. The reason being that these different scroll list box templates is because upscaling the text on the scroll list box elements will how to say, will break it. Will just break it. If the text is too large, the scroll list box somehow breaks. It won't show all the text anymore. And that's why different header templates need to have different scroll list boxes need to have different different text sizes. So some of them can't be larger. There's a 0.10 is max. For others, it's okay to go a little bit larger, and for others not. So we can actually take a look at this. If we go here and we search, they should be referenced in the WND files. So if we go find all, so you see this one is used once in the disconnect screen. This list box text display, because we can't go higher than this 0.25 in the disconnect screen. Right. So let's take a look if there are some of these as well. No, this is not used at all. But this is used in the diplomacy screen. Yeah. And I think this one is used the most times, probably. There's one, yeah. Wait. Okay. Wait. Game files edited only has a subset of WND files. I think here in the language. Let's actually just search here. I think that makes sense. Find all. There we go. Oh, found nothing. Okay. Let's try this. Ah, there we go. So here, yeah. So this has been used in a lot of windows. So there are a lot of WND files modified in Control Bar Pro, which are not actually part of the control bar. This is not that great, but the problem is if we upscale the text, the fonts for the control bar, then it kind of also affects like other screens, and then the rationale was, okay, let's just fix it in all the screens, right? So that all the menus look proper with the new fonts. And so basically all the fonts here, all the menus that do have a scroll list box have been modified with the new header template. And ideally, if there's a mod, it should also reflect this change. Otherwise, you will have this problem that in higher resolutions, the fonts don't display properly in different screens, in the scroll list boxes. It's an unfortunate setup, but it's as long as we can't fix the problem in the code, in the game code itself, with time, we have to do this workaround, which works fine. It's just a little bit of modding overhead, but it works fine. So I just wanted to mention this. I just want to explain this because it's not very intuitive, right? But the setup is all there, so you don't actually need to worry about this unless you have, if you have edited menu files in your mod, then you probably need to replace the original fonts in your scroll list box elements, these ones here, with the Control Bar Pro header templates, or you can also rename them if you want to, I don't know, Shockwave scroll list box, right? Yeah, you can just find all the scroll list boxes if you just search for scroll list box, right? You just find all scroll list boxes, and that will find you all these elements, and then you can just edit these guys, right? Okay, so I hope that explained it a bit. Now I think we should also take a look at testing the whole thing. So now we built the Control Bar Pro, and we want to test the whole thing. So for that, we of course need a game install. So in my case, I have here different generals folders. We use the English one. Let's activate it here by applying the registry keys. There we have the general 0 hour install, and it looks somewhat clean here, somewhat. There's a Gen tools place because that's a requirement for the Control Bar Pro. There's also the Control Bar Pro HD add-on, which combines with the Control Bar Pro for higher resolution icons. So they will look much more crisp and sharp. So makes sense to install this as well. And then what we will do is why do we have two prompts open here? Probably need to close one. Yeah. Okay, so now we want to run this. For that, we can run the build install run. Yeah, that will build the whole thing, will install it into your game folder and run it. Let's do this. So it will now check if anything has changed, and then it will run the game, and hopefully the control bar will be loaded. It should. Let's now take a look at the folder. Yeah. So now you can see it has copied the big files. It has linked the big files. So these are symlinks to the big files. So you see there's some stuff for the control bar in it. There we go. And now the game is started, and it should have loaded the control bar. So we can now go to, let's hide the Gentoo text here. Let's go to solo play, skirmish, and let's load here the map. And there should be our control bar. Actually, we did edit we did edit the USA control bar. So let's pick a USA just to see if our changes are reflected. And yeah, there it is, the broken control bar with a green outline. And here this area is totally screwed up. Very professional edit, as you can see, but that's how we do it. Basically what we can do now is we can quit the game and we can open Photoshop, and let's say we wanted to border inner, and we want to change the color to another very interesting color like pink. Yeah. And now of course we need to disable the testing thingies here and enable the radar, enable the upgrades. Does that look proper? Let's check. By the way, the reason it was cut off here at the side and didn't look like this in the game is because the alpha channel has not been updated. So as you can see, the alpha is much smaller here than the actual graphics. So you would need to update the alpha channel as well if you wanted to make it larger. Yeah. So now we have this pink. Now we just save the file. And now if we rerun the build install run, it should detect the change and rebuild the texture for us. Let's see. Yeah, there it goes. Rebuild the textures for different resolutions. And now launches the game. And now we can go to solo play skirmish and load USA. Now it should be pink. Ah, there we go. Beautiful. Yeah. See, now this is already a major upgrade. Control bar looks much, much better. Yeah. For some. For some. So yeah, I think that is pretty much the essence of how to work with the add-on. Make sure that your design file is always consistent with your textures and with your W&D and ini file setup. That makes it a lot easier because then you can see where everything is aligned and how it all fits together, how your stuff is positioned in relation to other things on the screen, right? So yeah, design makes sense. Use it if you make bigger changes, keeps track of everything, and you have a good starting point here, so you don't have to do the bulk of the work. And yeah, is there anything else we need to look at? Let's take a look. Scripts. Yeah, the scripts, it will, the build script, it will download a couple of files here into this mod build folder, or the tools that are required to build. But you do not need to worry about any malicious codes or anything. I mean, the stuff is downloaded from the internet, but all the files are checked. So you have, I think, a setup here. Yeah, the setup. So the mod builder is hashed here against SHA-256 hash. So it will only accept the mod builder with this hash. So you won't suddenly download some illegitimate mod builder utility that you did not ask for. Same for other tools that the mod builder itself will download. But yeah, that's beyond the scope. But you can also use a mod builder for any other add-on or mod. But yeah, that's a different topic. In Control Bar Pro, it's all pre-set up, so you don't, you shouldn't be required to mess with it unless you want to maybe update the mod builder in the future. Right now, the latest version is 1.5. Yeah, and so if there is a new mod builder in the future with bug fixes or new features or whatever, then you would just update it here, and the mod builder will be in the Super Hackers repository on GitHub in the Generals Tools folder. Here, Generals Tools. Here, Generals Mod Builder at the very bottom. There are the different versions. There is the file, and there are the hashes, and then basically you would just copy the version here, 1.6 for example, the next one, and the size you would get from here, copy paste it here, and the SHA you would get from here, copy paste it, put it in here, and then you would have upgraded your mod builder for this add-on, and the next time you execute it, it would then automatically download the mod builder 1.6 for example, and install it and run it, and hopefully work. But on the other hand, if the add-on or the mod you build works fine with the mod builder you don't need to upgrade the mod builder. And it's probably better to not upgrade it if it all works, because if the mod builder upgrades at some point, and maybe there are some breaking changes, that would mean you need to update your build scripts. Eventually, your build setup, the JSON files that I showed you earlier. Here, where is it? Yeah, the bundle items. Hopefully not, but it could be that maybe something was changed, and then you need to make some adaptations. But overall, the setup is somewhat set in stone, so that shouldn't be changed too much. It's because the setup is proper, so it should remain the same, let's say. The mod bundle packs I didn't show yet. This is actually, or did I can't remember. This is where you now put together the items into these bundles that go into your zip release at the end. We have seen this earlier, and there is one setting here which is called install true, and that's one that is just for testing. When you run the build install run.bat file, it will install the pack that has install true here. So you could move this to a different pack. So for example, let's say you want to test this, and you just put it here, and you save your JSON file. And now the next time you install, it would then install this pack instead of the other one here. Oops, I don't know what I just did there. So you can also change the name of the pack prefix here. So for example, you can change the number here, or the name, I don't know, Shockwave Control Bar Pro 1.0 for example, like this. Then it will generate the zip files like this. What else can we say? I think that's pretty much the essence. Hopefully I did not forget anything. The release unpacked folder will contain you can just put any file in here, and it will be part of the release pack. So like the README, for example, or here, these are control bar specific add-ons that will toggle on and off the big files. So if someone installs this add-on, then he can turn it on and off with batch files here for Windows, which I guess there's use. I don't use it, but someone may want to. I think some streamer may want to use Control Bar Pro when he plays, and Control Bar Ops when he observes streams. I know there's one streamer who does it, and then what you can do is you can just toggle off the Control Bar Pro. That file will be in your game install directory. Actually, let's just show it. So the game is open right now. That means the files are here. When I close the game, then all our files are removed, as you can see. So the mod builder will install, will run the game, and when the game shuts down, it will uninstall it again. So you will have a clean game install again. So to put them there permanently, I think we need to run build install. Is that a thing? Yes, it is. It is. It will also, here at the bottom in the text, it will also give you a warning if there are alien files that might interfere with your add-on or your mod. So in this case, it warns about the 400 Control Bar HD base, because these are not original game files. So you can review manually if this could cause problems or not. So for example, if you have a lot of loose files, extracted files in your game install, like a control bar .wnd, it might cause troubles. So this will tell you that there's some files and you may want to check it before testing your add-on. Here in this case, it's all fine. This add-on is compatible. So now it has this installed here. Put the symbolic links. And now, can we actually... let's see if this works. No, it doesn't. Because it's symbolic links, I think. Yeah, I think it's because it's symbolic links. You would have to... is there an uninstall? Let's see. Scripts, Python. No, that's the wrong folder. Windows. No, that's also wrong. Ah, here, uninstall. So if we run the uninstall but, then yeah, it has removed now all the files that we put in here. So yeah, the batch file here unfortunately cannot be tested if we have the symbolic links, which is a little bit of an inconvenience, but okay, it's a very special case. So how would we test this? Builds, raw bundle items. No, that's the wrong folder. See, I'm confused with my own thing here. Raw. Ah, yeah, raw. So let's see if I would copy these guys manually over. Let's see what happens. Ah, yeah, okay, then it will copy the files properly. See, now it's not a symbolic link, but the actual file. And now it should be possible to toggle this add-on on and off. As you can see, it renames it to .back, and that means the game will no longer load it. Only if it ends with .big, then the game will open this file, and now it won't. So if we start the game now, the add-on won't be active, and now we can toggle it on again, and now the Control Bar Pro is active again. And if you have multiple add-ons like this, then a user can toggle it on and off like this and have different add-ons active, which is just a little convenience there. Obviously there are other tools that allow you to toggle things like the Gen Launcher, for example, but Control Bar Pro by default just ships as this loose package, so it's up to other authors of Gen Launchers, for example, to embed it then into their system and have the user be able to conveniently enable and disable it there. But here in this case, you have the option to just use a batch file, which would mean if you wanted to ship your own control bar with the batch files, you either would need to edit them to adjust the file names inside. So we go here to, where's it? Release unpacked. Yeah, you would need to edit these file names here, or you just delete it. Just delete the batch files. Yeah, it doesn't matter much. Okay, is there anything else? There's also the mod runner, which we might want to edit. So right now it will determine the game install path from the registry, which you might be familiar with. It's in software, Electronic Arts, EA Games, Command Conquer General 0 Hour install path. There will be your install path. You can actually look at it if we go to reg edit here, and there we are in the 0 hour here. No, that's wrong. Here, yeah, there install path, as you can see here. That's install where the generals.exe file will be located in, and there's also the language, the English language, which is also referenced here in the mod runner. That is because you can also specify the language somewhere in one of the JSON files, and then the mod builder would change the language for you on start. Actually it makes sense. Yeah, right. Makes sense to explain it for Control Bar because it does cater to different languages as well, right? So how would you do that? It must be, let's see. I can't remember, so we need to look it up. Let's go to General's Mod Builder sample project and mod bundle item packs. Yeah, here, there it is. So you can put the set game language on install. You can put it either in the items or in the bundles, I think. In the packs, sorry. Mod bundle items.json or in the mod bundle packs.json. You can put it in both places. And if this is then installed, so let's do it for the Control Bar Pro. So you can put, so now it will install this and we just put it in here next to the install, and then it will also set the language to English, or you can say you want to test the Polish language. You put it to Polish. Let's actually do this. We put this here on the full HD, like this, Polish and full HD, install true. Now we go here and we just leave the files as is. So let's say we have it like this, and now we run the build install run. Let's see what happens. Okay, there we go. Okay, now it should be Polish, hopefully. Let's see. No, it's not Polish. Maybe because there is no Polish language. Could that be? Yeah, there's probably no Polish language pack here. That makes sense. But let's see if the registry has been changed. No, it has not. Language is still English. Why? Maybe it doesn't work here. See, I'm confused about this stuff. Maybe it doesn't work in the packs, only in the items. Okay, then let's put it somewhere else. Let's put it here in the edited languages. How about that? Let's put it there. Polish. Let's close it again. Let's run it once more. There we go. Oh, it's still English. Oh, well, maybe it's just broken. Could be. Oh. But yeah, the idea would be that you set this set game language on install, and then the language, and then when you test it, it will automatically set the language for you. I'm not sure why it doesn't work right now. I can look into this later. We won't be investigating this now for this video, but yeah, it should work. That you can then load the game in the language, and this will make it then easy to test it. Yeah, it could also be that it doesn't set English now because it doesn't set Polish because Polish is not available. Could be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Although I would have expected it to be not so sophisticated. I would just try to load Polish even if it's not there. But yeah, you would need the Polish language packs then, obviously, which you can actually download. Let's also do this here, which is important if you want to test different languages on your control bar. So if you go to gentool.net/download, there you find the different folders, and there is languages there. And there you can download all the language packs, the original ones, for all the native game languages for both Generals and General 0 Hour. So these are all already patched to the latest. So it's here patched to 1.8 and here to 1.4 for 0 Hour. So make sure to also have your game. It probably doesn't matter. You could probably also run this with a non-patched game. It would still work, I think. Yeah. But yeah, make sure your game is patched anyway. It's always good. And yeah, then you just download it and copy over the big files that are inside into your game install, and then you can test it with. Yeah. Okay, so I think that covers most of the things. I know it was it's quite a lot, but yeah, I think you have a good primer now on how to work with the Control Bar Pro. Hopefully you don't need to edit all these things. I think it's just important that you know where the textures are, how to edit them, where the design file is if you want to change the design, and how to build and test it. Yeah, that's the most important. Okay, and by the way, now we just installed the whole thing over. We just installed. Looks like it just deleted the old files. It doesn't matter, who cares? Okay, yeah, there might be bugs. If there are bugs with the mod builder itself, which hasn't been tested much, I'm the only one who used it so far, I think. You can create a bug report in this repository, the Super Hackers Generals mod builder, and you go to issues and you create an issue report here, and then I'll take a look and make a fix if necessary. So you go here, new issue. You need an account. You need to sign up, create an account, and then you can create a bug report. Please make sure to give a little bit of repro steps if it's not so straightforward, the issue. Like if you have a specific setup with your game. Like I know, for example, that if you have Command & Conquer the first decade installed, then there is a problem because the install path here then will be wrong here in the first decade. I'm not sure why. They have another folder here which is called ZH_ folder in the first decade. And then what you basically need to do is you need to go to your modrunner.json file of Control Bar Pro, and either you copy paste the game install path here in here, or you copy the different registry key into the game install rec key here, like this. This is a folder, and then there's a double point, and then ZH_folder, like this, right? So yeah, but if you have like a RG mechanics install or the CD version or the origin version, then it should work out of the box, I think. But don't quote me on this. I could be wrong. But yeah, you can change the setup here in the modrunner.json, save the file, try again, and hopefully it will run it then properly. Yeah. Okay, so is there anything else? I think there was. I hope it covered most of it. Hopefully I didn't mess up anything here now doing the illustration, but I don't think so. Yeah. Control bar. There's also a map, test rank map. You can copy this into your maps folder in my documents, and there you get a lot of gen points given. Then you can test the general promotions, and yeah, but yeah, it's all details. I think all the essence has been covered. Feel free to make your own Control Bar Pro version for your mod, or just with new textures for your personal needs, like with logos. If you're a streamer, for example, you can put your own logos. Or maybe you want to change the transparency, which is very popular, to see more through the control bar. Yeah. Anyway, I hope this was useful for you. And if not, well then, who cares, right? All right, have a good day. And hopefully there will be another video at some point in the future. Maybe not. Maybe there will be. Probably. Maybe not. Who knows? All right. Have a good day.